name is Adam Stoner. I'm a Milwaukee artist. I'm originally from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I moved to Milwaukee just in the past like year and a half or 2 years or so. And I've been working here ever since. A few years back, I had been working with the Jesuit Volunteer Corps for a few years and in social work, and was using my sort of creative instincts to sometimes delve deeper into that world or to sometimes escape from it. And I was actually working in corrections in a juvenile alternative incarceration center, and I wound up drawing all the kids that I was meeting with, and that sort of brought me back to this. They were like, "Why aren't you doing what you love? And we like you and all that, but whatever, you need to be somewhere else. Go to a mall and sketch people. Like, you could get paid big bucks." I was like, sure, why not? So I guess the inspiration for my work comes from a fascination with theology and with spiritual fantasy, and it's sort of all tied together. Like, the glue that holds it together are like turning points in my life and personal experiences, whether they're from childhood or important things that happened to me as a teenager or as an adult. They all sort of get fused together in this framework that I've built for myself. It all began as a sort of an investigation of iconography and spiritual artwork and religious artwork in particular, and that developed into like this urge to create a completely alternate like spiritual iconography, one that resonated with me and that wasn't I don't know, didn't stand for something that I didn't personally agree with or could really, like, I don't know, empathize with. And so for me, when I create work, it's because there's this kind of emotional impetus, and that's like such a new thing for me. When I wasn't like a career artist, I would sit down and say, okay, I need to do something because I need to keep my skills up, or because like I'm an artist, blah blah blah, it's the thing I have to do, rather than like letting it breathe a little bit and sifting around in there and being like inwardly attentive. I wasn't doing that because I didn't give myself the time to, and like this is, I mean, not financially the best decision I've ever made for myself, but spiritually and emotionally, it's wonderful. I can sit down and sort of like sift through some of those things and siphon out an experience that I remember, or an experience that's currently happening to me right now. And when I feel that emotion or that feeling, I get this great, and I'm so thankful for it, this great desire to go recreate it, and not necessarily for someone else to feel. I hope they feel it or something, or I hope they think it's beautiful, but like as long as my work is to me simultaneously like mystifying and curious and emotionally like arousing, I'm happy. I'm so happy with it. That's like my biggest goal for myself, is to create work that is interesting to me, that pulls me into the next piece. So I went to school for art and theater, specifically set design, and I was raised by the wolves of theater. I had some fabulous teachers from a very young age who helped me fall in love, and maybe you see it in my work, but not just sort of the power of a design, but the power of narrative and storytelling, and in whatever medium it is, it captivates me. And I still pursue design work in theater just because it's part of me in a sense, and it definitely helps pay the bills at the moment. I have some great folks who have really ushered me into inner circles in Milwaukee in the theater design world, and I'm so thankful to them. And it's been a great opportunity to also like hone my skills while I'm working on something that's like not exactly my baby. It helps me, care about this like a little bit less and put it to the back burner and like give myself some time and just whip it out when the time comes. And in the meantime, I have this steady way of improving my skills and painting a lot. And I've been working with through Marn with the Marn Mentorship Program, and Raul Deal from UWM has been more than amazing to me. He's come to my studio several times a month for the past 6 to 8 months and just given me critique and feedback. And for a person who just moved to Milwaukee, that is like so clutch. To have someone look at your work and say, okay, maybe the formal qualities are great in this one, but not necessarily your concept isn't strong, or vice versa. Work on the formal aspects in this, and this, and you'll have a tighter image, or it'll speak to me more. Or just someone who can see something that you've been looking at for untold hours, the wee hours of the night, and say, that's amazing, do more of that. To hear that kind of validation from someone who I just met is amazing. He has been not only an inspiration to me, but a great friend and mentor. I would recommend that program to anyone who's serious about their art in Milwaukee. And I could go on about it, definitely. It's helped me in countless ways. Really discover also like what works for me. I so really strongly believe in having like a network of peers who get it. I've been in social services honestly for the past several years before I moved to Milwaukee, and that was really nurturing. And I had, once I started making art, I had a lot that I felt like I needed to say, or things that are left unsaid in society that are not out there because of unequal distribution of power. It's really important to have folks around you who get it. Especially for me, I can sort of get lost in whatever interior world that I'm in and internalize, when things aren't going so well, it's my fault. I do it all the time. I have artist spirals all the time, and they're terrible. But having Raul and having a wife that is really supportive and a family that's really supportive of me pulls me out of that. And I think finding an artist community that really wants to workshop with you, and a couple of the folks in here in the studio have really been helpful as well. And finding more of that, I think, is my next mission for my career, and sort of thinking professionally, how am I going to make this work long term? So in the next coming months, I'll have a show going up with the Marn Mentorship Program over at VAR Gallery in January, if you're around in Milwaukee, as well as a Wizard of Oz production opening, which I've done the scenery for, which should be wild. It is super psychedelic, and I've had a great time working with the folks from Pius XI. Of course, if you haven't checked out the exhibition over at Walker's Point Center for the Arts, it looks great. And finally, if you follow me on Instagram, that would be wonderful. Or if you do Instagram, feel free to follow me. I don't know what to say. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm very camera shy, Howard. Can't handle it. Can't. It will reveal itself in time. Sometimes you just gotta keep making marks, and it will figure itself out.
Right.